we started off talking about, this is all about patients, and we've mentioned patients a few times, but we need to have patients right at the beginning of our thoughts, I think. So Louise has so much to tell us. I think we've got a lot to learn from her, and she's very kind. She's been very busy this morning doing lots of stuff. No pressure at all, but I've seen your slides. I think they're fantastic. Do you want to come up onto the front here? I'll show you how it all works. It's very simple. In essence, you can just press there to move the slides forward or that way to move them back. And do you mind using this roving mic?
I've never used one of these before.
You don't have to get this nice. Oh, well, just try it out.
Oh, I feel like a rock star. Oh, I might be okay with this. Yeah?
Don't pretend to sing. That's the only thing I would say.
You really don't want me singing. Yeah. Good morning. Like I say, my name's Louise Gillard, and I am an adult congenital heart disease patient, looked after very well here in Leeds, and I have been for 20-some years now. I'll just introduce myself a little bit further. So, like I say, I'm an adult congenital heart disease patient. I know you won't believe, born in 1974. ABBA had just won the Eurovision Song Contest, so Waterloo was #1. I was a late diagnosis of coarctation of the aorta in 1997, so I was 23. I was sent to my GP from my gym with very high blood pressure, and my GP actually called it in that consultation, which I've heard from my specialist was a really, really good call. I had open heart surgery in 1999. I had the narrowing repaired with a Gore-Tex patch. Operation went really well. I recovered really well, back to work full-time within 3 months, did my rehab at my own gym, and thought, life's lovely now. Went and got married, had a couple of children, and then it all went a bit pear-shaped. So 9 years later, I had some hemoptysis, started coughing up blood one Saturday night and got taken to hospital. And the LGI were absolutely amazing at actually catching what it was. And I had grown an aortobronchial fistula between the repair site and my lungs. So my heart was basically pumping into my lungs. I had emergency surgery and I had an aortic stent fitted. I think it's the biggest stent that you could certainly get at the time. It's 34 millimetres in diameter and 12 inches long. I look like a tumble dryer hose when I have an x-ray. Again, we thought, oh, right, okay, well, a bit scary, but we've got that sorted. And then I got pneumonia. So I was in intensive care. I was in hospital for a month, very, very poorly. I know my husband, my now ex-husband, was called in at one stage, so bit of a rough trot. The difference in those 9 years, though, was that I didn't have to have the open heart surgery again. They just took me into the catheter labs, and it was all done through my groin. And I really noticed the difference that made to me as a patient. They did have an operating theatre prepped just in case, but the difference in my recovery was completely different the second time round. In 2012, I wasn't happy with all that, so I developed AVNRT in the middle of a hurricane, would you believe? I was in New York in the middle of Sandy, getting a lot of palpitations. Luckily, I managed to get home because I don't know if my insurance would have covered it there, and I was blue lighted one day from work with a heart rate of over 200. So I now have some electrical issues as well. I'm very much the non-medical lingo person in the room. Not understood a word that any of you have said yet. But today, 2020, I'm alive and kicking, bringing up 2 teenagers, which will test anybody. One of my teenagers has special needs as well, so I've got a full-on life. I also work for a charity, and I run a service that helps parents of children with disabilities. I go to the gym, and I do lead a relatively normal life, whatever that is these days. So through all that, I'm I'm not doing too bad actually at the moment, apart from middle age. Ladies in the room might know what I mean. Right, so how